Hi, sir. Good day, and we're here to present about the information technology of Princeton University. The overview of this report would be the definition, introduction, what are we protecting, classification levels, definitions, threats to security, user responsibilities, access control, penalty for violation, and security incident handling procedures. For the definition, in 1746, Princeton University was established. It is the United States' fourth oldest higher education institution. Before the American Revolution, one of the nine colonial schools was founded. Princeton is a Princeton, New Jersey based private Ivy League research institution. The goal of this policy is to provide a security framework that will ensure the safety of the university information. For administration, research, teaching, and other reasons, language, digital, and hard copy university information can be used. Disciplinary action as well as the sanctions listed in section 1.7 of the rights, rules, and responsibilities can be taken.
What are we protecting? As you can see, Princeton University's information security policy applies to faculty, staff, students, contractors, temporary workers, and volunteers. This policy also applies to all other persons and entities authorized access to university information such as task forces, councils, and committees on behalf of the university. Classification levels. There are four classification levels of Princeton University, which are restricted, confidential, unrestricted within Princeton, and publicly available. First, restricted. Unauthorized access to restricted material must be reported to the proper entity or authorities under state and federal law. Confidential. If university information falls outside of the restricted classification, yet is not meant to be freely shared inside or beyond the university owing to its sensitivity nature and contractual or legal requirements, it is categorized as confidential. Unrestricted within Princeton. Information that falls outside the restricted and confidential categories it but is rather not meant to be freely disseminated beyond Princeton is designated as unrestricted within Princeton. And lastly, publicly available. Princeton University is a private university and does not release information meant to be made available to the public. Definitions. Authorization: the function of determining an individual's access and handling privilege levels to information. Availability: ensuring that information is available and usable. Confidentiality: ensure that information is kept strictly confidential. Integrity: guaranteeing information accuracy, completeness, and consistency. Unauthorized access: without sufficient authority and a valid business necessity, searching up, examining, copying, changing, deleting, analyzing, or managing information. University information. Princeton University gathers, acquires, or has access to information regardless of its source. This includes information stored in hard copy papers or other media, as well as information transferred via voice or data networks or exchanged in conversation.
Threats to security. A security threat is any potentially hostile attack that attempts to gain unauthorized access to data, impede digital activities, or harm information. Every day, cyber attacks target corporations and private systems. Individuals are also target of cyber attacks, often because they keep sensitive data on their mobile phones. An example of a threat to security is employees or staff. Every day, employees might expose their company to a cyber assault. Clicking on suspicious websites or printing sensitive information poses a significant threat to your company's cybersecurity. Next is students. Students may be the cause of intruders or hackers exploiting the security system because they also use university systems and are connected to anyone outside the campus. Amateur hackers and vandals. Hackers are unauthorized users who gain access to a computer system with the intent of stealing, changing, or destroying data. Some are inconvenient, while others aggressively target individuals, corporations, and entire countries. As a result, data security is dependent on a well educated workforce. Last threat are the criminal hackers and saboteurs. The majority of penetration occurs through the use of known security flaws. Overworked, unskilled, or negligent network administrators fail to install patches. Hackers have an intermediate to high level of skill since they are likely to have been trained in the most up to date hacker techniques.
Good day, sir. My name is Sam Daniel Pascual Manalo, and today I will present the following. First up is user responsibilities. First is recognize the information security policies, information classification levels. Second is sort the materials you're in charge of into the right categories. Third is only access information when it is absolutely necessary to suit legitimate business purposes. Third is without a valid business purpose and or authorization, do not reveal, copy, release, sell, loan, alter, or destroy any university information. Fifth is maintain the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of university information in accordance with the classification level and nature of the data. Next is handle information in line with the Princeton Information Protection Standards and Procedures, as well as any other university policy or standard. Next is discard media containing Princeton University material according to the classification level, kind, and any applicable university retention requirements. This includes data stored in hard copy documents such as note or report, as well as data stored on electronic, magnetic, or optical storage devices. Last slide is before revealing information generated by the Office of General Counsel responding to any litigation or enforcement subpoenas, court orders, or other information demands from private litigations or government agencies, contact the Office of General Counsel. Last, before responding to demands for information from regulatory agencies, inspectors, examiners, and or auditors, contact appropriate university office. Up next is acceptable use. First off for acceptable use is institutional use. So what is institutional use? Institutional use is the university's nonprofit educational mission and regulations and legal obligations prohibit commercial use of its intellectual property. Next is personal use. So what is personal use? Except for students registered at the university, personal usage of the university information technology and digital resources should be incidental and kept to a minimum. Up next is prohibited use. So what is prohibited use? Prohibited use is the university prohibits its electronic services, equipment, and systems from recording non-public university meetings, activities, and events due to privacy, compliance, and legal concerns. Use of the university's information technology and digital resources must not violate any federal, state, or local laws. Up next is political use. The university is prohibited from participating in or interfering in any political campaign. No significant portion of its operation may be devoted towards influencing legislation. Individuals are not permitted to utilize university technical resources for political purposes. Any additional use of political activity data must be approved by university policy. Next is use of the internet. So the university's declared objectives and policies as mentioned in the university bulletin and other university publications should be followed when using the internet resources. So the following on your right is the guidelines applied to users of Princeton University computing resources. Excuse me. First is please be cautious while visiting websites that may infect personal computer viruses connected to the university network. Two, it is forbidden to view pornographic websites or any other sites that are immoral or indecent in nature. Next is users must keep their access codes, passwords private and are responsible for any use of their accounts by individuals to whom access has been granted. Lastly, user classification. All users must be aware of these security policies and then notify the security administrator if they are violated. Furthermore, all users must follow the acceptable use policy outlined on this page. The following users group has been assigned access, privileges, and responsibilities. First up is professor and faculty members. They have access to applications and databases as required for job functions. Next is system administrators, computer systems, routers, hubs, and other infrastructures. Technology are all required to be done effectively. Access to confidential information should be limited to those with the need to know. Up next is security administrator. Highest level of security clearance. All computer systems, databases, firewalls, and network devices were provided access for job function. Last slide. This is for students and general public. First up is students. Users are given access to specific programs only when a contract or interagency access agreement is in place or when applicable laws mandate it. Lastly, general public. The NEC has said that only programs running on public web servers will be allowed access to the data. Thank you, sir. That would be all. And have a good day, sir.
Access control. Access control is a security approach that restricts who may see or utilize resources in a computer environment. It is a crucial idea in security that reduces the danger to the institution. Access restrictions exist at several system levels, beginning from low-level access up to maximum security access levels. User system and network access normal user identification. Students, faculty, and staff will be required to have their own unique login user ID and password with a high degree of complexity in characters. Each employee has their authorization of access to the system, which is why they should not share their user ID or password.
System Administrator Access. System administrator will no longer use their passwords to access systems, routers, hubs, and firewalls. All system administrator passwords will be after any employee with access to such passwords is terminated, fired, or otherwise departs.
Now for the remote access, only authorized personnel may remotely access the company network. Using a secure ID is the only way to remotely connect to the internal network.
Penalty for security violation. The institution takes the subject of safety and security seriously. If students disobey any of these rules, they will be reprimanded and suffer penalties. The particular discipline imposed will be determined on a case-by-case basis by the top university's administrator. Security incident handling procedures. This part depicts a few security-related arrangement and practice necessities episode. Any demonstration that compromises the classification and respectability of accessibility, paying little mind to the arrangement, each kind of information can be viewed as a security occasion. Here are a few instances of a security break. Danger entertainment gain approved, unapproved, or unlawful administrance to the organization's PC framework. The unapproved and accidental revelation of delicate and private data. Changing the expert duplicate or any duplicate of the understudies or alternately the staff's record without approval and adjusting individual or touchy data without permission. Any terminal of a PC framework that has been associated with a security occurrence or has been gotten to or utilized in an approved way ought to be accounted for quickly. That's all. Thank you for listening.